Alright, so we're going to disassemble the Benchmade bug out. You need a T8 driver for the pivot. It should come out very nicely. Then a T6 for all the body screws. Alright, so the body screws came out in a T8. I usually use my Weehaw T8, but I have lost it. So you should be able to remove that scale with relative ease. Alright. Let's take a look at these guys. There's their logo there. Very, very nice. High quality carbon fiber. Okay. Well, you could even like do half and half. That'd be kind of cool, right? Yeah, should be a very good fit. Half carbon fiber, half gravity. Probably not. All right. Here's the part that you don't want to mess up: is taking this axis lock part out of the knife. It's been a long time since I've done. I wonder if I can do one scale at a time. I might try that. And you can also get anodized titanium screws for these from Blades We Love on Instagram and on eBay. He has an eBay store, and he sells. Now I'm just gonna finger tighten these because these are. I'm gonna have to tweak these later. So we're just getting this settled, and I'm gonna try doing it this way. See if it's even possible, because these axis locks can be kind of a pain to work with. These don't come with any instructions, by the way. I don't know if they have an instructional video on their website. Now we're going to remove this scale. So your T6 is going to be your most common. Like I said, I usually use my Weehaw drivers for all this, but I lost my T6 Weehaw driver. I don't know where it is. Actually, I have two of them. That's the sad thing. This screw is not coming out for some reason. Okay, and then remove the pocket clip. Also with the T6. Put those aside. I don't know if this is going to be possible, so let's try to push that pivot screw out. You can probably just look up a video on how to disassemble a griptilian or how to change griptilian scales. It would work the same way as this. I'm just trying to make this as easy on myself as possible and not having to deal with the washers and all that stuff. So let's see if we can get this to work for us. Oh, I thought we did that screw. Pivot has a certain way it has to go back in. You can see it's kind of squared off. That's going to be the challenging part, getting this back in there. So what I might do is just kind of barely tighten these down, just to kind of hold the scales in place so I can mess around with that. Hopefully I can get this to work, and this would be the easiest and fastest way to do this. I'm not going to do that one yet. Alright. Yeah, that's what I was trying to avoid. Dang it. As soon as you move that blade, the washers move, then it's a pain. So I've done this a few times on Griptilians, and yeah, there we go. Dang it. Wah wah. What I just didn't want to happen happened. Okay. So there's another way you can do this. You can push this through, get it lined up with your liner here. And what we do want to do, that screw, because that will hold that liner on. So let's do that body screw. Your liner won't move around like that. Okay. Then you got to line up. The square part goes on top like that. Alright. Here's where it gets tricky. Keeping these washers, which are phosphorus bronze. So here you go. Here's a little inside look and how to disassemble and maintain this knife as well. You got to get those washers lined up. And you got to get them to stick. Now, one way you can do this is get a little grease. I use the Chris Reeve fluorinated grease. You put a little on the blade there, and then you can kind of stick that washer on there. And it helps keep the washer... It's supposed to help keep the washer on the blade. But it's not really... There we go. See, a lot of times it'll just fall off, so it kind of sticks now. Alright. Okay, so we don't want our pivot pushed through like that. That must have fallen through. So this is actually the hard way to do it. Well, I don't know if there's actually an easy way to do this, but this is one way you can. So I was hoping to not have to do it this way, because you got to get everything lined up. And I hope your washer doesn't fall off like that. Okay. The key here to get that blade, see, that worked. You just gotta push the, kind of release the axis lock a little bit. It releases that spring, so you can then we're missing a washer here, so that's not good. So now we got to find a way to get that washer in there, get it lined up. Something very thin. I don't know what my kids are doing upstairs. They're making a little bit of a ruckus. It actually worked pretty well. Look at that. Okay. Again, you got to get that spring. Give it a little spring, a little give. Oh, bam! Look at that, guys. So it's actually not very hard, but I got it in and it wasn't too terribly difficult. So So here's the tricky thing with these knives. You get them all put together. Sometimes you get lucky and the centering's good and you're like, yay, and that's it. But I would say most of the time they're going to require some tweaking. Yeah, see how the centering's off? So you kind of, I haven't tightened these down at all though. So let's get these snug and see where we're at. And you may have to go back. I do like to install the pocket clip as well, because this does actually affect the centering, as weird as that sounds. All these screws kind of work together. Come on now. These are little screws. Can put the knife together without much problem, but can't get this. Oh, there we go. You just got to get one of those screws going. Then it'll be easy. Ah, little bugger. These do come pre-tapped, by the way, so that you don't have to. Not you're gonna ever have to tap them. That'd be silly, but sometimes scales come not properly tapped. I've had lots of aftermarket scales on my knives before. Rogue Blade Works also offers a carbon fiber clip for this knife and for a few others, but like I said, this OEM clip is so good, there's no reason to do that, in my opinion. Well, unless you really want carbon fiber. Okay, so we got our pocket clip, our centering's way off. Get some of these tightened up. Centering's favoring that by a lot. We're not bad. Because our pivot's not tight yet. Oh, and we're missing a screw. Hold the phone. Huh. Still on the scale. I don't know if that matters. We're gonna swap these. I think they're the same size, but just to be safe, because that one was the body screw before. Alright, so we're just a little off on our centering. Okay, our smoothness is where we want it, but look, we're off center. So what you can now do is loosen some of these screws and play with the centering a little bit. You kind of gotta just kind of tweak them a little bit. Just barely favoring. The problem is when you put this pocket clip on, you can't really mess with that. God, we're so close. So these can be a little funky. The nice thing is Rogue Blade Works offers these scales pre-installed on the bug out, and they do all this for you. Oh man, we're so close. We're so close to being perfectly centered. Pivot is a little tight too. Ooh, that's about it right there. That's about just about perfect. So we got our pivot nice and smooth, no blade play. Not quite as smooth as it was, it'll work in though. And then now you have a Benchmade bug out with some very nice carbon fiber scales. Uses the same lanyard. I mean, it's literally the same design of a scale as the bug out scale which I like that they incorporated the lanyard hole into the carbon fiber. So nice replacement scales, definitely worth it. Weight difference, I don't think there is any, honestly. Let's see. Maybe a little heavier. .9, 2. It's kind of going back, so it literally is the same. Maybe 1.1 ounces. And you have a super light knife with a nice S30V slicer of a blade. And look at that. Oh, there's no flex. You can't pinch the scales together because it's carbon fiber. And it feels really good in the hand with these scales. So it takes an already good knife and makes it a lot better. And it's nice to see these scales come out, and they're made here in the USA. For a long time, most of the grip reptilian scales, things for Benchmades, were only available from Germany, and then you had a few makers in the US start doing them the last 5 years or so. But it's nice that this, I mean, this knife's very new. It's just new in the market, yet we already have carbon fiber scales available for it. So I'd recommend picking up a bug out. I really like it.